Hello YouTube and other social media if you're watching it on here. Jumping on by now, I'm sure you've seen the footage of Gregor Robertson. He was the previous Vancouver mayor. We in Vancouver know him as the guy who put housing prices up 174% during his time. Although I will say that's a little bit unfair. That wasn't purely just down to him. But he had a news clip recently. He was asked by a reporter, does he think the price of homes should come down? He said no. Of course, everyone went mad. Just one of the biggest issues at the moment facing Canada. And then he tried to dig himself out of a grave on X, which whenever somebody tries to dig themselves out of a grave, especially on X, it always backfires. And so he was asked by another reporter who's writing an open-ed, what do you mean by this basically? How are you going to fix housing without the reduction of housing prices? And his response was build mass affordable homes. Now, for those who don't understand the basics of supply and demand, when you build mass affordable homes, that means there's more supply hitting the market, which puts pressure on prices downwards. And there you go, you've already just stepped across the line in which you said housing prices shouldn't come down. So you can't really have one without the other. If you're putting a lot more affordable homes out there, then you're going to put downward pressure on prices. Take a look at the pre-sale market in Ontario, take a look at areas in Vancouver like Brentwood. There is absolutely tons of inventory, especially condos, and the housing prices are just being forced to come down and down and down and get more competitive. Now, the only way in which this actually, what he's saying makes sense is if these mass affordable homes are not freehold, i.e. you cannot buy them. So they are either government subsidy or rental prices. Now, in Brentwood, as I was mentioning in Vancouver here, we have, or Burnaby technically, we have tons of supply that's just hit the market. If you're looking for a 2-bedroom in the area, you're up against 200 practically identical other units right now. That's not even including all of the pre-construction and all the shadow inventory. But basically, we've seen pricing reduced by about 10% year over year on the rental side of things. So that works on the rental side. However, if you're building all of this mass supply and that's affordable, but it's not there for the people to purchase, i.e. it is rent and government subsidized, then you're really not adding more homes to the market for people to buy. So therefore you're not going to be reducing the cost of housing because you're essentially not tackling the supply issue. And so that is the only way in which you can add mass affordable homes without reducing the price of existing assets that people may own. Now, a lot of people have been talking that this is the quiet part out loud, that, you know, what they should have said. Whether Canadians are going to go for this or not, I don't think so. We'll get into another video here about the big issue with housing, multiple issues, but one of the big issues here. You take a look at just outright supply, there are absolutely tons of properties available in those areas in which I mentioned in BC and Ontario. Housing prices are coming down, but sales are still absolutely awful. So you've got cheaper options that you can actually buy, and people are still not jumping at the opportunity. So if people really if they're not jumping at the chance to own cheaper condos in which they own, they're not going to jump at the chance to jump into rentals at all. Just my 2 cents. Arguably, they are saying the quiet part out loud. It's had a lot of people mad. It was a very bad day for Mark Carney's government for that reason on day one. Not just that, but a few other things that are being said that we won't go into. Over the next few days and weeks, I'm going to be dropping some other videos here about some of the other issues in which we're seeing, because in my opinion, supply is not actually the biggest issue with housing at the moment in Canada. But we'll leave that for another video. What do you think? Do you think that they're just going to put out a load of social housing and rental housing just to make people more reliant upon the government? Obviously a big talking point during the election. We'll see what happens. I want to know your thoughts below. As always, if you found any entertainment or value from this, please do hit subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.